Looks like we're finally going to get another playtest of XDefiant before a what I saw quote unquote locked in release date comes out. But before we get into that, we do need to read an article from Insider Gaming to talk about what's been going on with the game. And it looks like there's a potential quote unquote boys club that has been in the mix in terms of development. And when those come into play, things could be a little bit interesting. So this article inside Insider Gaming, written written by XDI here. Let's take a read on what this is. The article is Insider Gaming versus Ubisoft, and of course Tom Henderson, because Tom Henderson writes on this blog. So I'm not gonna read the entire article because it's like 17 minutes long. But I want to highlight some of the parts of this article that make today's story interesting. So obviously we talked about how called that XDefiant has been rumored to be delayed because they were trying to copy Call of Duty. And shown in this particular first paragraph, it's no lie that the back and forth from Tom Henderson and Ubisoft's XDefiant lead producer Mark Rubin has a whole lot of heads turning. Although Insider Game has reportedly reported on the already debunked fake leaks on purpose reference camel unlocks to like COD, when many other FPS games have the same mechanic and attempt to generate hype for a game and create false expectations that are not set by the developers, then to let them down in a manifest frustration. This can be seen replicated by Call of Duty news pages called Charlie Intel and Modern Warzone that only add context to XY news showing it in a negative light. Picture below. Allegedly, Charlie Intel did not tweet about anything regarding the Activision internal company drama, or if he did, we cannot find it in any tweets, which was real, out, outdated sources, making this seem more like a hit piece and less quote unquote news reporting. Shown here on this particular image, Charlie Intel tweets the following: Insider Gaming's new report on XDefiant says that a creator leadership asked the same question every time a decision was being made on the creative features. Quote unquote, quote, what would Call of Duty do? Question mark. End quote. There is still no release date for this game. And shown here in this image is that tweet. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to read the whole thing because we need to go to Charlie Intel on that. And then we have another one says Insider Gamer states that X5 has been delayed multiple times because the game's executives keep trying to copy Call of Duty features, which is causing problems in development. There is still no apparent release date for this game. True. As of right now, there's still no release date, but we could have one soon. We'll get into that in a moment. Let's continue. Let's continue. The article here says the following. According to Tom Henderson, this person noted below is not one of the people that came out to him. I will leave this as it is. It is relevant to the original story. Lizette Titre Montgomery says the following. This is why I left Ubisoft SF San Francisco during SPTFB, quote unquote, the boys club as known as are known abusers, domestic abuse included. I was verbally insulted constantly, called, I'm not going to say it, in front of my team. And I'm not going to say what that word is either, was written on a whiteboard at a meeting I attended. Bullying was in there. So Tom Henderson then said this on that tweet: behind X defines toxic work culture, crunch, and years of delays. Okay, assumingly something has happened within Ubisoft and Jason, as Jason seems to have removed from the team, and we can see here from the experience of resume, executive producer full time, and creative director, but he has been removed from the Ubisoft team. Then we have the following here. We have the what they call the Boys Club and more. Let's read the quotes. The change meant more freedom for the project, allowing the Boys Club to make unnecessary changes, which has had an domino effect on the progress of the game. Another source said the constant changing of approved features or adding new features that don't really affect the game has pushed us back significantly, probably a year or so at this point, as inside the game article. Then we have another quote says the following: the issue with quote unquote the boys club isn't that its manager or directors telling developers what to do after all. That's their job. But it's the lack of work ethic, unpleasant behavior, and the egos from these individuals that have created a really unhealthy place to work, said sources. And they continue. One member has no design experience or people experience and has been given directorial powers because of personal friendship. Also from Insider Gaming article. These these are all blanket accusations and have no examples against them. Aside from really doing their jobs, this quote also reads as someone who did not gain a promotion and is talking out conveniently just before Mark spreads supposed big announcement. Quote, eventually, things got so bad that XDefiant's toxic work culture, crunch, and eternal problems became so relevant that the knowledge of the Boys Club even spread to other studios at Ubisoft, inside the Gamer article. This isn't a factual statement, this hypothetical and loose statement to cause more harm. And it continues, there's more. Um, in our previous report, we reported that Xbox delays have stemmed from the never ending pursuit of chasing Call of Duty, which we referred to a few days ago, which has resulted in developers becoming increasingly frustrated with the project's lack of progress. We have seen this. We have seen this in a few videos ago. We talked about how they're trying to chase COD, and the quote says this further pushes against the article's narrative and shows insight on the source's frustration other rather than actual issues with leadership as reported by the article. There's another quote here. They will nitpick the feature to their liking, similar to COD, and tell the design production teams to come back later once they make the appropriate changes. Even once the team makes those changes, the boys club will come up with something else, and the process will repeat again for months, all resulting in either the feature may finally being implemented into the game or being cut entirely. This is normal game development process. Nothing about this should even be a surprise and generally should dissolve every other quote. The sources have entered, and there's more. To be clear, chasing COD isn't necessarily a bad thing. But over the past few articles, Insider Gamer has aptly labeled as a negative thing. Well, let's take a look at that again. XDefiant isn't look the way that COD is. COD right now is one of those games that no, like very few are playing. If we take a look at Steam charts, I love to use Steam charts on these videos because we go numbers here. We love numbers here on this channel when it comes to these video topics. So if we take a look at the Steam charts for Call of Duty, the one that's out right now, the Modern Warfare 3, if we take a look at the Steam charts right now, 93,630 people are playing, with a 24-hour peak of 107,000. Now, doesn't sound that bad, but remember, their all-time peak is 488,897, and for a Call of Duty game, that's low. Remember, they always claim biggest franchise or highest selling, and that's only because of microtransactions. First, last 30 days, 73,958 is the average players. That's a minus 9,261, 262 players for a gain for a gain of minus 11.13%. So if we take a look at that, chasing COD, we'll see about that one. We'll see about that one because COD is suffering right now because of lack of players. And COD, yes, COD is the big boy in the cage. But remember, anything can happen in the gaming companies. The next quote here is, but when features are pushed back constantly or canceled entirely because they are not quote unquote COD enough, it has a detrimental effect on those working on the project and the project itself. This is normal development. Features get introduced, tested, pushed, not implemented. This source is obviously new to the development world. It does not assign. It does not understand the agile development approach. Well, true. It is going to be those some features get introduced all the time. Features get cut. Do they fit? Do they not fit? If they fit, they go into the game. If they don't fit, then they are cut from the game. Maybe for another game they can do those features, but for this one, no. So yes, the understanding of this quote is correct. And then quote unquote, but hey, at least mentioning no SBMM gets cheap brownie points, right? Said one developer. So a lot of people who played Call of Duty nowadays are talking about why the game is not doing well. And one of those things is called SBMM, or skill-based matchmaking, and we discussed this a few weeks ago when we were talking about the new Call of Duty blog, talking about how their matchmaking system works. So a few weeks ago, I'm not going to do the whole this TLDR, but basically the way that it's understood is how the article reads the SBMM. Does how the connection works, the ping, the connection, what console, what controller you use, everything is being used in there for the matchmaking. A lot of people say it. A lot of people are angry because that's SBMM. Okay, and there's still disconnection. So that's why they're talking about SBMM here with XDefiant to see if they don't have it. So and then here's what we have for that analysis. Mark has reportedly said that this because he is constantly asked about it. Also, it is true, so no reason to post about it. Not to post about it. Then the next one is it's clear that the video game industry is not in a good place right now, according to the article. And this source says this analysis that the quote said again, the source does not know what they're talking about. The below image depicts gaming returning to COVID levels of success with the source on the information and shown here global revenue in the US million billion. As you can see, total video games is over 300 billion and actually right now it's 2024. So projected right now it's around 250 billion if we look at that dot on 2024, and if we look at 2027 in the future, total video games is going to be at least 310 billion in forecast. Keep in mind that this is forecast. Nothing is set in stone beyond 2024. Then we have video game advertising, as shown here. That's going to be at around 145 billion by 2027. Social casual gamers games non-advertising. That's about 114 billion back down down the road in 2027. And then we have traditional games roughing around 74 billion around that line. These are just estimates based on my eyesight in 2027. Right now, we're in 2024. So that line for traditional games is looking like that it's going like right down the middle there. And in 2024, so far for social games, it's going to be at around 100 billion, maybe under, maybe over, based on that dot right there. Right now, for total video games, around 241, 45 billion. But that is just based on how I see it, according to this graph. Okay, next quote says the following: "Whoever, whether it's the or ununionization of workers or anything else, something has to be done for contractors and workers in the video game industry. For the longest time, I was told, quote, that's just how the industry is, end of quote. But I refuse to believe that mechanic meaningful chance can happen one day. Hopefully that day will come sooner rather than later." And the analysis of this is, I believe that this is true reason for this article to try to force a union being performed in Ubisoft San Francisco, potentially UBI. In conclusion, the ongoing dispute between Tom Henderson, Insider Gaming, and Ubisoft's XDefiant, or more Ubisoft focusing on accusations of misinformation, game development challenges, and internal workplace issues at Ubisoft. We highest we highlight criticisms of XDefiant's development process, accusations of toxic work culture, and debates over the game's direction, and comparisons to Call of Duty. Question the credibility of some of the sources and points out normal aspects of game development portrayed negatively. Lastly, sources suggest underlying motives that might include pushing for unionization within Ubisoft. So that is the article. So we have what looks like to be a boys' club forming here. And when it comes to the quote unquote boys' club, when you get to that point, anything can happen with a game. It's you can you can do one thing, they're gonna do another. So that's what's been going on. And any new features has been broken the new game build. Now, I did promise that we're gonna take a look at this new tweet that came out recently, actually yesterday, as of the recording of today's video. And let's take a look at that tweet because we have some good news to report about a playtest that has been planned. And we're going to take a look at this tweet by Charlie Intel, who retweeted this piece of information. Ubisoft confirms the XDefiant was supposed to launch at the end of March but has been delayed. XDefiant quote unquote server test will happen soon, and depending on those test results, they will be able to potentially share a launch date. So let's go ahead and read this tweet here. Defiant or Defiant X Defiant fans, and let's take a read. First and foremost, thank you so much. Thank you for your continued support for X Defiant. We are proud to have such a passionate community, and we thank you for your participation on our test spaces, including our insider sessions. This game has always been community first, with player feedback as our top priority. While we hope to go live at the end of March, there are still some improvements that we need to test before that. We're finishing a preparation. We're finishing preparation for a 12-hour server test session that will be worldwide on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The goal of this test is to stress our servers to get critical data and prepare us for launch. This is where we need your help to test our servers as much as possible. As always, feedback on your experience is important to us. After this short test, we expect to be able to lock in a launch date and start sharing more exciting content XDefiant has to offer in the future. Thank you again for standing by us. We will be back, but once again, we are ready to share some more news. So that is the tweet. That is the new update from the XDefiant official team. So we are going to get a new test. We're going to play, we're going to feedback, and we're going to see what happens. I will tell you, depending on what day it is, I will be swapping a stream to test the game. So I have a stream swap for our main channel. So we will be doing the test for XDefiant because this is one of the games I actually want to play. So let's take a look at some comments made by the community and talk about what they're saying about this. And it's on the right side of your screen. Diego says, "Yeah, and a new Black Ops game that Treyarch has been working on for years is coming soon. Just give it up." Nope. Let's see what the replies to that are. That oops, Treyarch is absolutely worst developer. This guy said COD is dead too. True, in a way. Let's see what else we get. Let's see what else we get. This particular says this particular user says Ubisoft in full panic on mode as expected. So worried about quote unquote killing COD that they killed themselves in game development terms. Next is the leaker says I literally do not understand why can't release it now. Um, was it was polished in the beta. If this is a representation of how they're handling the game right now, sorry to say, the game's not lasting long. They banked on being the COD killer, but shot themselves in the foot. Let's take a look at replies for this one. The netcode and party system is broken. If they release these game with these broken, it's DOA, dead on arrival. This is why they delayed the March release. True. True, 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 true. If you cannot have your party system right, then don't release it. That's the catch. That's the thing. Dead on arrival. Um, this user says it is because their executives were trying to put things in the game to copy code, and the devs keep having to change things and fix other things that are caused by the change. It seems to be another case of executives trying to kill a game and the devs trying to save it. Yeah. The next one is just started. We're doing both positive and negative reactions. This one says just shut it down. Ain't no one going to play it. The replies to this are as follows. This guy says, "Speak for yourself. I'm definitely playing it. I will play it too, by the way, guys." um, everyone's gonna play it according to J Dog. Carl is gonna say, "I'm gonna play it every day." True. I'm gonna play it for you guys. The next comment we're gonna highlight is um this one from Fizz Sama. I don't want to hear anything else about this game until its release date announcement. Them talking about many issues they're having is only hurting their image. Next comment we're gonna highlight is um just want the game from Fanatic. Let's see what we got here. Look at Ray Shot says, wait, XDefiant is still a thing? Wow, I haven't heard of that game title since a long time. I forgot it existed. Time flies. True. um, and then Matthew says, I bet you guys that the game will never be released at the end of this year and pulled from development? I don't think so. Let's see what the reply to it is. Been saying this for been saying this for months. Typical Ubisoft. Okay, next one is going to be Neha says the following: delayed launches can be disappointing, but road testing ensures a smoother experience for everyone. It's a reminder that patience and quality go hand in hand. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Yes, it sucks to see a game delayed. Trust me, I don't like games being delayed. But I wanna remind you guys, game development stuff. If they're if they are delaying a game, it's a delayed game is going to be eventually a good game. A bad game is forever bad. That's why I remember there's a quote there. That's a quote. That's an actual quote somewhere. I forgot who said that, but I know it's a quote. A delayed game will eventually be good. A bad game is bad forever. Um, and when Neha says this, delayed launches can be disappointing, but thorough testing ensures a smoother experience. This reminds me of doing my own VR chat worlds, and this reminds me of anything that you can do. Okay, and one more. We're gonna highlight one more, and then of course we had to have this thing happen. Y'all can just pack it up. This launching next week. No one's going to play XDefiant, and of course they're talking about Rebirth. The Rebirth Island is coming out back next week in Call of Duty. That's why a lot of people are going back. I'm not one of them, by the way. So that's why a lot of people are going back to Call of Duty because of Rebirth Island. I might play a few games, but just because I exist in Call of Duty still. But yeah, um, that is how this is gonna go right now. So today's question of the day: when do you think the date of release date for X Defiant will be after the test is over? We still have to find the test. Once we find the test, I'm gonna stream it live for you guys. We're gonna play it for one day, not exactly the whole day, but for full one session of streaming, and then we're gonna see. Do you guys like it? Do you guys don't like it? I'm still gonna play it when it comes out eventually. But when do you guys think the game is gonna be? In me, I'm gonna go on the over, quote unquote over. I think it's over April. I really think it's beyond April. Because if we go into the summer though, this would be, I believe, another year in Xify and not being released. Okay, but this game has been developed for years. And I believe it was announced in 2019. Okay, summer 2019. So, what are your thoughts? When do you guys think it's going to be released? And what do you think of the so-called boys club culture that has developed inside of Ubisoft? Let me know in the comments below. That is today's question and that is today's article. Good night, good luck. We'll see you guys on the next You Can Give Me News. Enjoy!